I don't think anybody was going to argue with Yeshua at this point and say, no, 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 you don't understand. You're not supposed to do that, right? See, that's for the Kohanim to do. Yeah, that argument would stand up real well, wouldn't it? Would you imagine Yeshua as he's ascending from the ground and he's raising up and he lifts his hands and he gives them this Birkat HaKohanim, and he puts his hands in the shape of the Shin, signifying that he is putting God's name upon his people. And it's this threefold. By the way, when you look at that, isn't it interesting that in the Birkat HaKohanim, Numbers chapter 6, verse 24 through 26, isn't it interesting that there's a threefold blessing of God's name there? The Tetragrammaton is mentioned 3 times there. Isn't that significant? It says that he lifted his hands and he blessed them. And it says, and while he was blessing them, he parted from them and was carried up into heaven. And they, after worshiping him, returned to Jerusalem with great joy. And they were continually in the temple praising God. I never knew what this blessing was, but I truly believe that this blessing was this Birkat HaKohanim, this blessing that was placed upon his Talmudim. Psalm 67, God be gracious to us and bless us, cause his face to shine upon us, Selah, to make known your way on all the earth, your salvation among all the nations. Let the people praise you, O God. Let the people praise you, all of them. Let the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you will judge the peoples with uprightness and guide the nations on earth. Selah. Let the peoples praise you, O God. Let the peoples praise you. The earth has yielded its produce. God, our God, will bless us. God blesses us. And the NSB says, so that, it's circumstantial, so that all the ends of the earth may fear him. He gives this blessing. And Psalm 67 is said during the days of the counting up to Shavuot. And here we see at the beginning of this psalm, the Birkat HaKohanim. And this is the blessing that I believe that Yeshua gave upon his followers. And, you know, it's beautiful when you look at this psalm. It is a blessing. It's a prayer for a blessing. And by the way, it's really a prayer. It's really what it is. It's a prayer. Just a little clip here. So one of my supervisors in one of my roles that I have, he was telling me about the fact that he was dating a missionary's daughter, and they were adamantly in love with each other, and they had decided that they wanted to get married, and they did. But he went to his to-be father-in-law, and of course he wanted to ask him for her hand in marriage. And so, he goes and says, Mr. So-and-so, and, I love your daughter, and of course, and this missionary, he says, thank you. No, you will not marry my daughter. And that's it. No. It's just not going to happen. So he goes back downstairs dejected and just don't know what to say. And so her mother, the missionary's wife, her mother, she goes in and she says, John, that's not really his name, but she says, John, he's 50 years old and she's 48. They're not really asking for your permission. They just want your blessing. That's what they want. They're going to get married anyway. And so, of course, he goes back and changes thought. I'm sure there was some more conversation and discussion about it beyond that, but they ended up getting married, of course. And but there was something to say about that. They wanted, and they did the right thing. I think this is beautiful. They wanted their parents' blessing. They wanted their blessing.